Welcome back to Salute Your Sports. Commandant Chef here with Tom Castleman. It has been a long time. Life's been busy, work's been busy, but the boys are back. The boys are back in town for your NFL playoff preview. It's going to be so much fun. We break down all the biggest games, wild card weekend. I know Bears and Packers we're pumped about. I think the Bills and Jaguars is interesting. We have our full playoff wild card weekend previews. We'll talk about who makes the conference championship, who makes the Super Bowl, all that and more, Tom. I'm super pumped to be back. First show of 2026. Cannot wait to get started. Losing my voice with the sickness, but I don't even care. I'm ready to be here. How you doing today, Tom?
I'm doing fantastic, and at the end of a very long but enjoyable season, especially refreshing as Bears fans.
Yes.
Kind of not necessarily getting into moral victory territory, but this has been an objectively enjoyable year, no matter what note it ends up ending on. It's been nice having good football, having representative football of a modern era where the
An
Bears
offense.
have had offense, have had multiple late game, fourth quarter overtime comebacks and come from behind victories. And while it would be nice to have maybe a little bit of a faster start, baby steps. We're getting there as far as having a representative team goes. Certainly has been an interesting season. As we are getting into our playoff preview, just want to do a little bit of a retrospective on the season as a whole.
Ooh,
Coming into this
okay.
year, you and I both picked an AFC team to win the title. Neither team made the playoffs. Both teams ravaged with injuries, ravaged with
Chiefs and Ravens.
inconsistent play. And really, we're finding ourselves in a playoff preview here that's going to be, I think, very, very interesting because over the past couple of years, there have been a number of themes to our playoff picks. Typically, we have, for you, you're riding with the Chiefs every single time. For
It's
me,
worked up until
I'm
now.
up until for me, I've been antagonistic, saying, well, the Bills, this will be the time they get over the hump. The Ravens, this will be the time they get over the hump and beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, make it to the Super Bowl. And then on the NFC side of
Josh
things,
Allen's time.
could be Josh
No
Allen's
Chiefs
time.
there, just saying.
On the NFC side of things, I feel like it's been pretty consistently 49ers and Eagles have been pretty much the top two teams. Both of those teams have made the playoffs. One of them, Eagles, were my NFC pick. You picked the Rams, another team that has been in maybe not necessarily as big of a favorite in previous years as Eagles and 49ers typically are. But all three of those teams, or rather, I should say, the 49ers and the Eagles, coming in with a couple of stumbling blocks, a couple of potential issues, which might make a nice pathway for the Rams as a road wild card team to make a bit of a run at the play. So long way to a short point. This season has had a bunch of twists and turns, ups and downs, things that we haven't quite seen or expected, which now sets us up for this very interesting playoff conversation where, you and I, whenever we have these talks, again, I always know that you're going to be going Chiefs. Now, I have no clue.
Uh-huh.
There's one of, outside of like Panthers, maybe the Steelers with a minimal point differential. You could go pretty much
Anybody.
12 different teams to win this thing, and it's so wide open and so interesting. So I'm really interested and looking forward to getting into the numbers, and definitely no matchup in which I'm more interested than the Chicago Bears making a return to the playoffs, hosting their rival, the Green Bay Packers, one of the great rivalries. We witnessed a great rivalry to end the NFL regular season with Ravens and Steelers. Steelers making it into the playoffs. Now on Saturday, it's not the first game being played, but the Saturday night game on Prime Video, Bears hosting Packers. So, Common, we both know what we both want to have happen.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is maybe the pathway for the Bears to win or the Packers to win? Do you see an upset here? I mean, it's pretty evenly matched. So if it's an upset, it's only in seeding. I think more or less Vegas has this as a coin flip of the game. So what are some of the keys to the game? Who do you like and why?
Yeah, first off, real quick to point to the regular season, Seahawks, Broncos, and Patriots, the three teams with the best record in the league. Nobody had that. I'm
Hmm.
double checking the spread right now. Green Bay minus 1.5. And I
Oh, so it's
believe the
flipped back
Bears
to them.
open at one
Okay.
and a half point favorites. This money line for the Bears is at even, so it's a virtual toss-up. There
Mhm.
really is no favorite if you ask Vegas. This is going to be a heck of a game. Heck of a game here. I generally, Tom, if I had to like bet my life on it, I don't know who I would pick to win. I really don't, because this is such a evenly matched matchup. Both games this season going down to the wire between these two teams. Bears are getting Roma Dunze back, hopefully. Obviously, Micah Parsons a huge loss for the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love is coming back at quarterback, so both teams have had some injuries down the stretch. I will say this: it'll go down to the secondaries because the Green Bay Packers
Mhm.
secondary is not very good. Also banged up. The Bears have, Luther Burden, Mizzou Made emerging. They have Roma Dunze coming back, DJ Moore. There's some matchups the Bears can take advantage of in the secondary against the Packers. They'll have a big edge there. As far as the Bears secondary, I know this is such a cliche term. It's one of the most cliche things when it comes to football. And this is why the Bears have had such a good season this year because they have won the turnover battle. The
Mhm.
best turnover differential in football. The defense for the Bears has forced the most turnovers of any team in the NFL. They literally are the living example of bend but not break because they give up yards. They've even given up points sometimes, but they made so many
Mhm.
key plays on defense. So Jordan Love is a very talented quarterback, but occasionally he can't throw the ball to the wrong team at the wrong time. Occasionally. We've seen it in the playoffs against the Niners a couple years ago. So this will really come down to can the Bears force some turnovers? Because they can force a couple turnovers, they'll probably win the game. If Jordan Love plays a clean game, the Bears could be in trouble because I don't think either secondary will play great in this game. I think this will be a game where the quarterbacks could throw for, 250, 300. I think both teams have the advantage on the outside with the quarterback and wide receiver play. Uh, because I generally am not sure, Tom, I'm going to give the slightest of edge to the Bears because I speak from the heart. And
Mhm.
also, I am not the biggest proponent of home field. I'll be the first guy to tell you it's a little bit overrated, but in a game that's so close, I mean, we did see the Packers win at Lambeau, the Bears won at Soldier Field. This game is in Chicago, and a lot of it comes down to the rust and health of Jordan Love. Now he's
Mhm.
healthy supposedly. He's coming back, but there's just a little bit more question marks for the Packers for me than the Bears. So because of that, I'm picking the hometown Bears in what's going to be probably like a 23-20, 27-24,
Mhm.
kind of like last second field goal type thing. It's going to be a very, very tight game for sure.
Yeah, it's this is a tough one. This is one where even though the Bears are the higher seed, I feel a little bit like I'm picking with heart over head here because uh one of these key statistics you're going to be hearing from me throughout this entire a playoff
Is it
preview.
DVOA?
Not DVOA. No, I'm keeping
Okay.
it a good bit simpler. But basically just looking at some pretty rudimentary stuff. Points for, points against, turnovers, that sort of thing. The Packers are pretty middle of the pack to good in both categories. 16th in points for, 11th in points given up. Bears obviously better in offense at ninth, but they've given up the 23rd most points in the NFL, or rather, they're the 23rd best or worst team when it
Hmm.
comes to scoring. And my opinion on turnovers is that it's kind of a one-way street. If you are on offense, a player, a quarterback, or running back, whomever, that usually puts the ball in harm's way either by throwing an interception or being loose with the ball and giving up fumbles, that's something that is on you to control and or get better at. And then the recipient on the takeaway side of thing more so happens to be whomever you are playing. And the reason why I say all of this is because you're right. The Bears have taken the ball away a ton this year. But
More
when
than
you're looking at
anybody.
but when you're looking at the giveaways, Bears are first off really great at taking care of the ball, and I think that's going to be one of the reasons why I'm going to lean Chicago on this one.
Yeah.
But Green Bay's third in giveaways. The Bears have turned the football over 11 times. Green Bay's only turned the ball over 13 times. That makes me really cautious in a game where you were saying the secondaries are pretty banged up on both sides. Jalen Johnson for the Bears, not the same players. He's still coming back from a groin injury and surgery that he had earlier this year. Kyler Gordon is coming off of injury replacement. Even if he is able to go ahead and play, and it sounds like he's going to be a game time decision, what's his level of conditioning going to be? Nashawn Wright, he's turned the ball over, but he's also given up a lot of big plays. So all this to say, we saw Christian Watson burn the Bears for 150 plus yards, something like that, a couple of touchdowns in a matchup at Lambeau earlier this season. The Bears defense can absolutely be had. They don't rush the passer very well. They don't generate any sort of interior pass rush with their defensive tackles, and you can run on them. Josh Jacobs had a week off to try to get that knee a little bit healthier. There's a lot of cause for concern here. So I'm going to pick the Bears as well, but if you said, what's the reason why? Maybe I think their coach is a bit better than Matt LaFleur. LaFleur's more experienced as a coach, certainly, and that can be used to an advantage. But I mean, Ben Johnson has been basically running an offense and learning from one of the better, leader of men coaches in Dan Campbell in Detroit. So I don't think he's not going to be prepared. I just think that, Matt LaFleur's a little bit more experienced. The Packers as a whole a little bit more experienced, and the Bears just. I just need him to start better. I need him to play like a quarter of football before this game even starts in order for them.
You gotta lead at some point.
Exactly. If they can come out firing from the get-go, that'll feel great. Pretty much is coming down to, can they get that key turnover? And we've seen them so many times make the late plays to at least have a chance at the end of the game to make me think that the Bears can pull this one out. But this is certainly probably the biggest coin flip game that I have on my slate for this playoff preview. So I'll go Bears as well, if only because it's sacrilege not to against the Green Bay Packers. And I'm really hoping they get this one. Everything else after that will be awesome and will be gravy, but I just don't want to hear about it for the next however many whatevers it's going to be till we play football again if the Bears lose this one.
I know. And this is one of those games, too. I think, I know we haven't had as much time to talk on this subject this year with not having less shows, not having talked as much, but Ben Johnson has been Coach of the Year worthy. He has been everything the Bears hope for and more. I got a Packer buddy I work with at work for my memorabilia company, and he's not the biggest fan of the floor right now. As Dom would say, let Jordan Love throw the ball. Let him go out there and make plays. The other X factor, though, I do agree the Bears do have the edge in the coaching position for me, even with the less head coaching playoff experience. A lot of it's going to go down to Caleb Williams, which, again, I know is a very simple thing to say. Caleb Williams has had a very, very, very good but yet interesting season. Because if you watch these games, I think Chris Collinsworth did a good job of talking about this during, I believe, it was the Niners game.
Yes.
The Sunday night game a couple weeks ago. Caleb does not turn the ball over, which is massive. He does not make major mistakes. He also makes a ton of spectacular plays. He also misses some wide open throws occasionally. So it's going to go down to Caleb we know he's not going to turn the ball over. We know he's going to make some incredible plays. Can he make the simple play? The open receiver for a 10-yard pass. Can Caleb make the simple plays? I'm going to bank on that he will. But obviously his first playoff game, I know he's had a lot of pressure games at USC. He had a number one pick. But it is something a little bit different in the playoffs. It is a different feel. So how well Caleb Williams plays will be massive in this game. But I'm going to go ahead and bank on him playing really, really good. And that's why I'll take the Bears in a very, very tight game, Tom.
Yeah, I think Cole Kmet, their tight end, was saying something along the lines of, we're going to have to manage our emotions. And I think that's so true because even for the veteran players like Cole Kmet, like Jalen Johnson, who have been on this team for multiple years.
They haven't been in playoff games, though.
Exactly. So this is new territory for so many people on this team. This is where you really have to lean on a Joe Tooney on the offensive line, lean on Kevin
There.
Byard, who played for the Eagles, Grady Jarrett, who has been in the league for a while and had some success with the Atlanta Falcons. Really lean on your captains for this one in order to get you through. So this is going to be a really, really fun game to watch, a really interesting game, a really nerve-wracking game,
Hmm.
which isn't that like that's such a nice place to be in a way. Like just
Oh,
to
yeah.
feel nervous for a football game, truly, because like we have adopted teams. I don't know if you get quite to this level for the Chiefs, but for me, it's just like, oh, if another well-liked team on my end loses, like, well, like they had a nice run. I still like them and all that stuff. But like to feel like truly nervous about a football game, it's
Yeah.
nice.
I
I've
felt that way
missed the
about the
feels.
Chiefs, but I haven't
Okay.
felt that way about the Bears in a while. So really, really exciting. I agree with
So
that
so at least for
100%
me, it's
now.
going to be a much more a much newer feeling
Yeah.
as opposed to what you've encountered with a really nice stretch of success for the Chiefs there. So moving to the next matchup that we have in the NFC, this is one that perhaps a lot of folks would have picked as the NFC title game, but we get this in Wild Card Weekend. The Philadelphia Eagles, the 3 seed, hosting the San Francisco 49ers. A couple quick hitter stats on this one. 49ers 10th in points for, 13th in points against. So pretty balanced and on the upper half of the league. Eagles struggling a little bit on offense, only scoring their 19th in points for. Defense, though, as per usual, has been outstanding, 5th in points against. So, Common, where are you leaning in this one? Certainly a very, very different looking team for the 49ers than what they came into the season hoping that they would have going for them, particularly on defense.
Yeah, interesting because, the Niners are 12-5, Eagles are 11-6. Eagles have the worst record and they're favored by 4.5 points at home, which
I
is
mean,
very, very
I get
interesting. I just
that.
looked down at my phone to see that line. But this is going to be another really, really tough game to pick. A full strength Niners team might be a different story, but you said it. I mean, I know they found a way to keep winning this season despite all the injuries,
Hmm.
but they're without Fred Warner or Nick Bosa on defense. I know Fred Warner's hoping to come back later in the playoffs. We'll see. But for this game, the two best players on defense not being there really, really hurts them. And even the
Hmm.
guys like George Kittle is going to play, but he's playing banged up. He's had so many injuries this season. Trent Williams, I don't know what the latest update was, but
Hmm.
again, he might play, he might not play. The offensive lineman, if he does play, he's not going to be 100%. And these are like key positions. I mean, your best
Very.
offensive lineman, your two best defensive players. I know Kittle is going to be fine, presumably, but again, he's the guy that's playing banged up. Probably your leader on that offense, George Kittle. So I am going to lean the Eagles because of all the San Fran injuries and also because he hasn't been at the level he was last year. And it has been up and down all year, but the last few games, Saquon Barkley's getting a little bit of a rhythm, Tom. His
Hmm.
last 4 games, 122 yards, 78 yards, 132 yards, and 68 rushing yards. He's such a phenomenal player, Saquon Barkley. He really is, Tom, that I almost think like he's due for some of these big games, and he is playing better football down the stretch. So I look at Saquon Barkley without the likes of Nick Bosa and Fred Warner to stop him on the D line and the linebacker route. I look for him to play really, really good
Hmm.
in this game. Also, Jalen Hurts, say what you will. I know Eagle fans come at him. Another guy that tends to deliver in the playoffs. Another guy that, by the way, even when the offense struggles, does not turn the ball over.
Hmm.
He will not make the big mistake. This is an Eagles team that knows how to win. Defending Super Bowl champions in the playoffs, and they were in the Super Bowl before that, a couple years before that. They've been what? Two of the last four Super Bowls, Tom, having
Hmm.
won one of them.
Yep.
Like that's a winning team right there. I know the Niners are a winning team. They've been in a couple of Super Bowls themselves,
I think
but
they've
they haven't
alternated.
won
Yeah.
one. And most of the Niner players from the first Super Bowl team have been long gone. It's a pretty new cast of characters compared to that first team, which was what, like 6 years ago we're talking about now.
Hmm.
So I simply think the Eagles are healthier. They're at home. I think they're better. Although I'll say what, if talking about head coach of the year, if it's not Ben Johnson, it's certainly Kyle Shanahan. I know he's had some playoff moments. I know we like to focus on comebacks against, when he was an OC in Atlanta, when he was the coach, when the Chiefs came back in the Super Bowl. But man, what he's done with that team, Ayuk has been, I don't think he's even played at all this year.
He's
Kittle's
not,
been
no.
injured.
Hmm.
Now Trent Williams is down. Ricky Pearsall, another guy that may not play, he's been injured. The coaching job by Kyle Shanahan, even Brock Purdy's been out. The fact that Niners are here with all this happened this season is a minor miracle. So
Hmm.
Nick Sirianni, obviously a good coach. You don't win the Super Bowl by being lucky, but Shanahan does have the advantage of the head coaching job. That's for sure. He's a
Yeah.
phenomenal coach. But I think at some point the injuries catch up to San Fran. And I think against an Eagles team, an Eagles defense, which you mentioned, we can talk all we want to talk about how what's off with the Eagles offense. That defense is phenomenal. So give
Hmm.
me the Eagles, another close game. The Niners might cover the 4.5 point spread, but I'm taking Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's you're talking about all those things in which Kyle Shanahan's overcoming. And last game of the season for the 49ers, they had a chance at the one seed. They had a chance at the bye and basically living at home from essentially the what, like week 16, week 17, all the way to the Super Bowl,
Which
because
is
if
in
they're the
San
one seed,
Fran.
that's, I mean, that's, they had a potential huge advantage there. But I think we're starting to see a little bit of what you're saying. Those injuries catch up to them. Just pulling up the latest on the injuries. Uh, George Kittle practiced on a limited capacity, but Trent Williams did not practice on Wednesday. Ricky Pearsall did not practice on Wednesday. We're recording on Wednesday, but D. Winters, I believe, one of their other linebackers, who's a pretty key player on defense, did not practice on Wednesday. Not to say that they're not going to be ready to go come game time, but certainly they're just really banged up on that side of the ball. And that kind of allows, I think, for a soft open to the playoffs almost for the Philadelphia Eagles, because I've noticed it's a small sample size, but it kind of seems that every other year they're really good and clicking on all cylinders, hence the two Super Bowl appearances and the Super Bowl win last year. But then the following years, they've struggled to kind of figure their way through the next season. And I'm not really sure if there's if it's just correlation or if there's any sort of causation to that.
I mean, it is
But
hard
I
going
mean,
out of the Super Bowl, Tom. It
I
is
mean,
hard.
it definitely, but like we've had during the season, AJ Brown at some point saying, "Hey, if you have me in fantasy football, don't play me," because he felt he wasn't getting the ball thrown his way enough times. And like you're saying, I think Eagles fans are a bit too harsh on Jalen Hurts. I'm not, he's not the best quarterback in the league, but
He's a top 10
you
quarterback
can win a
easily.
Super Bowl with him. There's only one Patrick Mahomes, and not every NFL team can have him, type of thing. So at a certain point, you got to be a little bit content with what you have, in my opinion. Um, I'm saying I'm going to go Eagles as well with this one. The 49ers, we saw what happened to them against the Seahawks, a team that kind of sort of a little bit of a mirror or a little bit of a similar style to the Philadelphia Eagles, where Ken Walker, Zach Charbonnet, they were able to run up and down the field all day. There's no reason for me to believe that Saquon Barkley behind that Eagles offensive line can't potentially do the same thing. And the 49ers have also struggled with generating a consistent pass rush without Bosa healthy and on the field. So that just kind of leads me to think Jalen Hurts is going to have a little bit more time to look downfield, make plays to Dallas Goedert, to AJ Brown, to Devontae Smith. By the way, a lot of their players, key players, were sitting in the last week of the season. Questionable decision, in my opinion, but I
With the
wonder how
seeding,
with the seeding, because if the Eagles had won and the Bears did lose to the
they'd be the
Lions,
2 seed.
Eagles would be facing a very banged up Green Bay Packers team. But it could just be that the Eagles said, you know what, we already know that we're going to be facing either the 49ers if we lose, or potentially the Packers if we win, and we feel comfortable matching up with either of those teams. It's more important that we rest up our key players, make sure that our tight end Dallas Goedert, who's been kind of battling some injuries, is good to go. So we've got three perimeter or receiving options, that Saquon's good to go, all that fun stuff. So I'm going to go with Eagles as well because I think their defense can carry them, even if their offense does continue to struggle. If it still continues to be a bit of a chore to find an identity, their pass rush is so good, their secondary is so good. It can definitely, I think, get them through at least one game in this playoff.
Cool. Third playoff game. This is probably the one on paper is the easiest to pick.
But
Rams are 10-point favorites,
mhm,
but the Panthers already beat the Rams head to head. I know those turnovers. I know Stafford, not a good game for him.
mhm.
There was a little bit of a flukiness, but if you beat the same team already, you have the belief. And Carolina's been known to get some upsets. Ask the Packers, ask the Rams. They have played some good football against some of the best teams in football. With that said, I'm picking the Rams. I think that Rams team is so solid. 46 passing touchdowns for Matthew Stafford this year. The likely league MVP, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams should be back. They're not going to make the same mistakes twice. So I think the Rams, even though I think Carolina might cover, it might be more of a backdoor cover type thing. But I think the Rams win comfortably in this game. It sounds like you definitely agree, Tom.
Yeah, if we were doing locks of the week, being on the Rams side of the spread would definitely be where I would be leaning.
Okay.
Rams first in the NFL this year in points for 10th in points against. Meanwhile, the Panthers an anemic 26th in scoring 15th, so middle of the pack at the very least on defense. And it's exactly what you're saying. That victory for the Panthers at home against the Rams earlier this season, which again is going to be in Carolina, but that was a game in which Stafford had two interceptions and lost a fumble, and that was one of Bryce Young's better to maybe best games as a professional quarterback. I believe he was 15 for 20, Scotia over 200 yards and a few touchdown passes. All told, I think this is just going to be a Rams victory by a pretty healthy margin.
Okay.
And that this was, a nice bonus year for the Carolina Panthers. They get to back into the playoff after winning a three-way tie for first place in their
Eight
division.
and nine, baby. Eight and
Which
nine.
I don't know how many people had that on their bingo card as a pathway to making it into the playoffs. I probably am doing a little bit of a disservice by not having more analysis, but just looking at this matchup, it's just like it's so clearly Rams in this one. I mean, let me just really quickly go over to one of my favorite quick and easy stats to check out. The Rams' point differential on the season, they are a plus 172. The Panthers are negative 69 points. So the Panthers have given up 69 more points than they've scored. Rams have scored obviously 172 more than they've
It's
given
one of
up.
the worst playoff teams we've ever seen, the Rams. Or not the Rams, the Panthers, excuse me.
Possibly the worst because even that Seahawks team that was 7-9
Well,
had
they had
like
Marshawn Lynch.
they had Marshawn Lynch. They had a really good coach in Pete Carroll. I mean, not to say that Drew Canales isn't a good coach
Oh,
or
he's
that
done a
he's not
great job, but he's not
developing
Pete
into a
Carroll.
good coach, but not a Pete Carroll in his prime level of coach, in my opinion. So
Okay.
that's going to be the end of the wild card round portion for the NFC. So it looks like we're agreement on all ends. We're going to be looking at a Bears and Eagles matchup, and then the Rams and the 40 or not the 49ers, excuse me, the Seahawks facing off in the next round. But let's move over to the AFC, where things are a lot more wide open. We'll see how much we agree or disagree, because I sense this is where there's going to be a lot more a turmoil. There's going to be a lot more upheaval, simply because, like I said at the top of the show, two of the favorites that we had going into the season, two teams that we thought were going to be competing for the number one overall seed, not even in the playoffs, and the third team we thought was going to be competing for the number one seed in the AFC, they're sitting at, what is that, the fifth seed? Sixth seed for the Buffalo Bills, and they will be going on the road to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which
Can I make a
is
quick prediction, Tom? Even though the AFC wildcard
Mhm.
round is wide open, I'm going to go ahead and predict this, and I probably will be wrong now because you're going to be devil's advocate just to beat me. But
Mhm.
I think we'll have the exact same pick for all three games. That's
All
my
right.
prediction.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Well, here we go. We've got, let's see. where's
I have
my
the Bills Jaguars as the first one. I think that's the
yes.
most captivating one for
So
me.
to top it off, Bills fourth in points for, 12th in points against. Jacksonville very balanced, sixth in points for and eighth in points against. So comment, I'm intrigued with this one and where you're going to be going. Who do you like?
Yeah, so the Jaguars are the hottest team in football right now. They are 13-4, and they have won 8 straight football games.
Hmm.
The Jaguars are at home. Trevor Lawrence playing like the last few weeks in particular, because I know some of those games earlier this year, they were winning games, they're finding ways to win. But what was it like 2, 3 weeks ago? The
Yeah.
guy had 6 touchdowns. Like he's settling in and playing the best ball of his
Yeah.
career, looking like a first overall pick in Jacksonville. Defense, you mentioned, they're very balanced, good on both sides of the ball. With that said, this is a little bit more of a feel rather than a stats thing. Because
Mhm.
I know I've been on record saying the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs, their defense usually goes to hibernation in the playoffs. They've been giving up 30-point games to the Chiefs all the time. Josh Allen's barely over 500 in the playoffs because his defense lets him down. That defense this year, too, kind of like we saw in the Jets game. A very bad Jets team, they feasted. Some of the good teams, like the Patriots, they didn't look so good. With that said, there's one Superman out there, and it's Josh Allen. And I'll tell you what, to make another superhero reference,
Mhm.
I'm going to call him more like Batman. And Batman found his Robin in James Cook because James Cook led all running backs in rushing yards this year. Let that sink
Mhm.
in. Led the entire NFL in rushing yards with Josh Allen as his quarterback.
Yes.
While the Bills don't have a great receiver, that's a problem. I'm not saying it's not. They have a great offensive line. They have a great quarterback. And they have a great running back. They have the ability to control the line of scrimmage. I know it was last year, Tom, different season, but they put up like 47, 48 points on Jacksonville last year head to head. And it's just more of a feel. And you'll notice, Tom, normally I'm the big stats guy, and it's kind of funny because you're actually pulling out more stats than me this show. Uh, because I think the playoffs are so wide open,
Hmm.
I actually did less research and less stats than I ever do. This is probably not a really smart way to put it, but I can't help but think this. The big bugaboo for Josh Allen and the Bills is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Hmm.
Because you take out the Chiefs in the playoffs, the Bills have been the best team in football for the last 4 or 5 years. They've beaten everybody but the Chiefs. That's the one hurdle they can't get over in the playoffs. Where are the Chiefs this year? They'll be watching from home. It almost sets up so nicely for Josh Allen. And I've mentioned the playoff numbers multiple times on the show. He's just slightly over 500, but statistically, I think it's 25 touchdown passes and 4 picks, not
Hmm.
counting his rushing touchdowns in the playoffs. Josh Allen has been spectacular in the playoffs. Look at the playoff quarterbacks. Yes, Jalen Hurts has some success in the NFC. Yes, Matthew Stafford has some. Aaron Rodgers has some, but Aaron Rodgers is not Aaron Rodgers. If you watch Aaron Rodgers this year, he's 40 something years old. Look at the AFC quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence,
Hmm.
one playoff win, which the Chargers blew that game a couple years ago. Drake May, first time ever in the playoffs. Bo Nix, his second playoff game ever. He lost to the Bills last year, by the way.
Hmm.
Who do we got? So Nix, May. Who am I missing right now? We have CJ Stroud has
He's
played in the
been here a
playoffs a
little
couple
bit.
times
Yeah.
and won, but
Hmm.
still a relatively young guy who hasn't had necessarily tons of playoff success.
And then Justin Herbert.
And then Justin Herbert, who's never won a playoff game, even though I like
Hmm.
Justin Herbert. I'm a Justin Herbert fan. I think Harbaugh will get it figured out with him. I don't know about the Patriots matchup. We'll get to that in a little bit. But
Hmm.
Josh Allen, I believe, if you take out Aaron Rodgers, subtract Aaron Rodgers, he's got more playoff wins than the other AFC quarterbacks in the field right now. So it just seems to me that it's his time. And you look at the way he played down the stretch this year. There were some
Mhm.
ups and downs this season for him for his high standards. But look at that Patriots game. They were down, what, 2 touchdowns in that Patriots game? The man led them back. He makes all the big plays. I like Trevor Lawrence, but I love Josh Allen. We talk about it being a quarterback dominated sport. We talk about the biggest superstar showing up on the biggest stage. Last year, he got the MVP. This year, he's going for the Super Bowl, Josh Allen. He's coming for Mahomes' crown. And as a Mahomes fan, I hate to say it, but man, he's coming fast. So I'm just going to simply pick the Bills because I trust Josh Allen more than I do Trevor Lawrence or anybody out there. Kind of a fun matchup because it's two teams that don't really win a lot traditionally. The Bills have had some good years, but in the playoffs, neither one of these teams traditionally wins. But I think the Bills find a way because I know it's a 52-man game or whatever, Tom, but I think the two best players in the field are Josh Allen and James Cook for me. Not to mention, by the way, Bosa could be a big key in the pass
Mhm.
rush, but give me Josh Allen, give me James Cook, give me the Bills to win in Jacksonville.
Well, Common, I hate, or maybe I enjoy, telling you that you are both right and wrong with how you opened up the AFC preview because you're correct in me being contrarian, but you're incorrect that we're going to be aligned on all of these picks because call me crazy, but I'm going to go with
Of
Jacksonville
course you are.
over
That's
the
the one I
Buffalo
thought you might
Bills.
go with Jacksonville. That's the one I thought.
So I was looking at this one, and this is as I was filling out the playoff bracket, and this is kind of sort of proving a little bit of how things are going to go later on in the show, but I found myself doing a similar thing that I do with March Madness, which is, I pick each game as I'm going along, and I get to the end, and I'm just like, really? That's what I think is going to happen. I don't have any sense of strong conviction here. So as I was going back and forth looking at different stuff for Bills and Jaguars, I think that Jacksonville has been really, really balanced, and I think that not dissimilar from the Chicago Bears, this is a team that's starting it to gel a little bit with a new head coach at the right time. It's a bit of a struggle at the beginning of the season, a
Cohen.
new system that Liam Cohen was instituting, but he's definitely had success. We saw him have success with Baker
Duval.
Mayfield as his quarterback, not quite so successful with being pop culturally relevant. But this is a team that's starting to put it together a little bit. And in looking at some of the strengths and weaknesses, I mean, Jacksonville, second in the NFL in takeaways. Again, not something I necessarily think is a super sticky or predictive statistic, but they have been able to get turnovers. And Josh Allen's been pretty good about hanging onto the football. But on the flip side, Buffalo hasn't really generated turnovers on defense or been able to take advantage of turnover opportunities on defense. So if anybody's going to get that extra possession, that key, flip of field position, I lean a little bit Jacksonville. And then, interestingly enough, looking at that defense, they are first in the NFL. Jacksonville is first in rushing yards allowed, which is the strength of this Buffalo Bills team, as you mentioned, with James Cook being the rushing leader for the season. So this is one where I know the Bills have been kind of sort of playing it fast and loose with the wide receiver position and saying, okay, we don't necessarily need a key, true established number one. They haven't had that since they traded away Stephon Diggs, which on the individual player, in hindsight, looks like the right move. But the fact that they haven't replaced him with a similar type of player in that mold is a little bit worrisome because who's your go-to guy going to be? If it's going to be James Cook, that's running right into the strength, literally, of this defense. So I'm going to lean Jacksonville by a slight margin on this one. Um, Again, I don't have any super big confidence in a lot of these matchups. I think the Rams are like the only one where I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
by far and
Oh,
away. Them
yeah.
and the Eagles. I felt pretty good about those. These two, I just kept going back and forth. It's just like, I think I'm just going to go with Jacksonville. It's just the fact that they're a little bit behind the Bills in terms of the scoring they've done this season, but they're a consistent bit better. And the Bills defense, think. Hang on, let me scroll through my notes. I put a note in here for you.
They hibernated in the playoffs. I know I
Yeah,
always talk about it.
the Bills defense did not wait until the playoffs to disappoint Common by being a middling team. So I
I always
did
talk
put
about it as my light goes down, how they don't show up in the playoffs, and they wasted no time this time, apparently,
yeah, no,
Tom. You're right.
they let that happen in the regular season. So I'm gonna go Jacksonville. This is gonna be a really fun one to watch. I'm looking forward to it. And definitely looking forward to the next matchup, if only because this is another one where I feel pretty confident in who I'm picking. And I would especially like to see this very, very good second best in points allowed defense of the Houston Texans just absolutely tee off on Aaron Rodgers behind the line of scrimmage, who spent basically the entirety of the game against the Cleveland Browns just making sure that he was not going to be the footnote to Myles Garrett's historic season.
Mhm.
Uh, Texans 13th in points for, second in points against Steelers, middle of the pack on both sides of the ball, 15 in points for, 17th in points against. So, Common, where are you leaning on this one? I've already said I'm going to be picking the Texans. I'll get into some of the reasoning why, but I'm interested to see, or to hear rather, who you like and why in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll say this about the Steelers. Their defense has gotten better as the season has went along because that defense was really struggling earlier in the season. When you look at those metrics, you take, TJ Watt getting healthy, coming back last week. I would still say Pittsburgh for me has got to be definitely an above average defense. That's where, as much as I love stats, they might not tell the full story. I do like that Steelers defense. With that said, Houston, number two in scoring. They're pretty much top two or three in yards as well. It's a dominant defense. Pittsburgh offense, I would say DK Metcalf is going to be back for the playoffs. Talk about a team with no number one receiver. They didn't have one when he wasn't there. So he gets
Mhm.
back. He is a number one. He's not top five. He's not top 10, but he's about middle of the pack for a number one receiver. He's a legitimate go to number one. Having him back makes their offense much, much better. No doubt about that. With that said, though, the Steelers' offensive line is not quite as dominant as years past. We have
Mhm.
seen Aaron Rodgers take sacks. We have seen the running game have moments where they can't really get going. I mean, that Baltimore game, they couldn't get going until the second half, and it was mostly the passing game actually that got going later in that game. So I think Houston's going to control the line of scrimmage. Daniel Hunter, those great pass rushers, Will Anderson Jr. So I think Houston's defense has a pretty decided edge in this matchup because you kind of listed the stats like middle of the pack Houston offense, middle of the pack Pittsburgh on both sides of the ball, but nothing middle of the pack about that Houston defense. That's one of the
Mhm.
best defenses in football. A well-coached defense, well-talented defense. I think simply put, they're going to be too much for Aaron Rodgers. Could be three, four, five sacks, a bunch of hurries. They don't really let anybody get going this year. I mean, you watch all their games. I mean, like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, a lot of these quarterbacks the last few years against the Texans. That's a really, really good defense. They say defense wins championships. I don't think their offense is good enough to win a championship, but I
Mhm.
think their defense is good enough to beat a Steelers offense, which is just okay. With that, lack of a mobile quarterback, not the same traditional dominant Steelers offensive line. So give me Houston with that defense. Along with Denver, they've really been the best defense in football this year. So give me the Texans, Tom.
Yeah, the thing that I kind of jotted down about the Steelers is that outside of like obviously the individual talents that they have, particularly J.J. Watt or excuse me, T.J. Watt, the Steelers don't really seem to do any one thing especially well, except this thing that they do where they just kind of hang around in games and eventually they win at the end. It's kind of a are we going to be in this game? Oh, you're kind of letting us stay in this game and we're keeping ourselves in this game. Well, what do you know? We won this game. That's kind of how it's been for them a lot this year, especially having a game where you had three tight ends with rushing touchdowns, where you've had your second running back, Kenneth Gainwell, be leading receiver multiple times for you. I think this is going to be a pretty low scoring game. I think that the word I would use to describe this one is going to be a grapple. It's going to be just a real like takedown, like high school wrestling, not high flying WWE Monday Night Raw wrestling. This
Raw is
is
war.
there's a mat, there's a circle in the mat,
So take
and
the under.
you're just trying exactly you're just trying to grapple out a victory here. I think the Texans are going to be well suited to win that type of game. Their offense has been clicking a little bit better as the season has gone on. Their rookie receivers in Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel have been coming on as some complementary weapons to Nico Collins, who's, as per usual, a very, very good wide receiver. A little bit concerning about the lack of a run game, but I think that the Texans are going to be able to piece enough offense together to get the victory here. And I mean, like you look like Will Anderson Jr. rushing the passer. You got Danielle Hunter, Derek Stingley in the secondary. There's a lot of weapons on defense. There's a lot of exciting talent. I think the Texans are going to be the better defensive team and the slightly better offensive team to win the type of game where both teams are going to say, "Oh, we're still both kind of in this one, and one of us eventually is going to take this one down."
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to the Patriots and the Chargers. The
Oof.
Patriots, possibly the most exciting, or not exciting necessarily, but surprising team, I should say, this season. They ended the year
Them
second
or
in points for.
Seattle.
I was legitimately surprised that the Patriots were second in scoring this year, fourth in points against, which is something you would more expect that sort of statistic from a Mike Vrabel led team. Chargers started off strong, particularly with their passing game, but that's kind of fallen off. They finished the year 20th overall in points scored, ninth in points against. So this is an interesting one. There's some underlying reasons for that offensive fall off, particularly
Offensive line injuries.
Chargers offensive line. I mean, they lost
Joe
Rashawn
Alt.
Slater before the season even starts. Joe Alt's been out. They've taken multiple other hits to their offensive line. So this has been a year where it's kind of tough to get into a rhythm. It also doesn't help when your star quarterback has a broken left hand and is somewhat limited in what he can do on offense. So on the flip side, the reason I think this one's really interesting is that the Patriots have a great record, 14-3, outstanding, phenomenal season. But when you look at strength of schedule, for example, when you look at their strength of victory, those are some pretty paltry numbers. A .391 strength of schedule and a .37 strength of victory. So basically, kind of 40th percentile type of stuff where they're going up against a lot of teams with poor records across the board. Some of that's in division with the Dolphins and the Jets, to be
I
sure,
mean, they
but
beat the Bills as their one big win.
exactly. They had a pretty soft schedule to this point. So it's one of those things where you've got two head coaches who've had multiple NFL stops, have had success in the playoffs, in Mike Vrabel and Jim Harbaugh. So is it going to be, does Justin Herbert finally get his first playoff victory? Does Drake May continue this ascent into seemingly an upper echelon of quarterbacks this year?
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really good game. I mean, it is kind of hard to figure out the Patriots. Like you said, their schedule has been not very good. But I mean, I'm looking at this right now, Tom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They've won 13 of the last 14 games. I mean, they've been 13-1, and they're really like a play or two away from having won every game, just
Hmm.
having that heartbreaking loss against the Bills. You can only play the schedule you're given. That's the other argument I would make because they were given a soft schedule, but guess what? They took advantage of it, Tom. It's what
Sure.
they've done all season for that to get the credit. And yeah, I mean, you said it. They're statistically top five in offense, top five in defense. Christian Gonzalez, a terrific cornerback for them
Hmm.
that's been locking down people on the defensive side. Drake May, I mean, Stephon Diggs is still good, but
Hmm.
it's kind of crazy how they haven't really had like a great receiver. Booty's had moments. Couple really good running backs though. Travion Henderson. I don't know if you remember our NFL draft preview, but I said he's going to be the steal of the draft. He looks
Hmm.
really good. Stevenson looks good as well. for them. They're well coached with Vrabel, like you mentioned. I think the Chargers are just too banged up. Too many offensive line injuries. Justin Herbert's banged up. I know my preseason pick this year was the Chargers win a playoff game. I don't know that this is the game they win. I do
Hmm.
like New England at home. I do like the way they're playing. They're more explosive on offense. Chargers have a very good defense. There's no doubt about that. But the Patriots defense might be even better. They're allowing less points per game than the
Hmm.
Chargers this year. So I'm going to say that Patriot magic continues. The Patriots win at home. Drake May has been very impressive too, because I know we think of like young quarterback, great defense, Patriots, game manager type thing, but that's not what's happening. Drake May's got like the best passing numbers in the league throwing the ball down the field, 20, 30 yards plus down the field. The guy's accuracy is second to none. He can beat you with a deep ball. He can beat you with the short pass. He can beat you any darn way he wants. Drake May is a magician with the football. He's been phenomenal this year. Obviously, you know, I think it's safe to say there's never going to be Tom Brady in New England, but man, they got enough second coming, Tom. They
Hmm.
got a guy over there in New England, very, very special quarterback. I'm going to pick the Patriots to win this game at home.
Yeah, I'm going to go Patriots as well. I think it's going to be a close one, though. I think that it's going to be closer than the records would indicate. I think it's going to be a little bit uglier too. I think that a weakness for the Chargers obviously is with that offensive line, but for as good as the Patriots defense has been, they haven't been an outstanding pass rushing team. So that leads me to think that they can let the Chargers hang in it a little bit more if they decide to focus their passing attack on whichever side of the field Christian Gonzalez is not going to be occupying. If they decide, okay, we're going to run this Omarion Hampton and Kamani Vidal split backfield or shared backfield, and I mean, if anybody knows how to win a one and done football game, I mean, Jim Harbaugh is one of the better in-game tacticians or game-to-game tacticians in the NFL, and he knows the type of football game that he wants to win. So I think that the Chargers are going to make this one really tough. I'm also going to go with the Patriots, but I think it's going to be a nail biter and well worthy of Sunday Night Football in a way that we wouldn't ordinarily think of a 2-7 matchup looking. Simply because the Patriots, I guess I'm not a fully fledged true believer in them yet. Typically, if I'm looking at a team that's second in points for and fourth in points against, you know, my eyes are popping out of my head. I'm saying, well, that's a Super Bowl contending team. And I don't think I feel comfortable saying that about the Patriots in spite of the fact that they've won 14 of their 17 games this season. I feel like there's still more to prove here. And of course, the playoffs are the opportunity to
Prove it
prove that.
now.
So I'm more than willing and open to be, to saying, hey, I'm willing to be proven wrong. I think that the Patriots get this game. We'll see. We'll see how they go farther on in the playoffs, to be sure.
We want to go through the AFC, the rest of the playoffs, and the AFC, then NFC, since we're on AFC right now, Tom.
Of course, yeah. So let's go to the AFC title game, and before we get there, just want to give the Broncos, and later on I'll do the Seahawks as well. Just the quick cursory, broad view of what they've done this season. Broncos 14th in points scored, third in points against. So we're talking about another team that is very, very good on defense here. Also 14-3, also a little bit of a surprise, winning their division, and that was even before the Patrick Mahomes injury. I mean, the Chiefs season at that point was already teetering when he had that really, really unfortunate, just injury to end his season. But even up to that point, the Broncos winning consistently in the last minute. I mean, even having they scored like 30 something points in the fourth quarter against a bad Giants team, but still like 2 points a minute's insane when you think about
Uh-huh.
it in those terms. This is a
Fourth
team that
quarter Kings.
certainly they are well versed in come from behind victories. Their defense does a great job of keeping them in the game so that their offense can sort of awaken to that. And RJ Harvey, the rookie running back, has really come on as of late in the season as a consistent weapon for them, a consistent contributor to the offense after it was J.K. Dobbins and kind of a little bit of a committee to start the year. So in the title game, Common, do you have the Broncos, who only need one victory to get to this point? Do you have them in the title game, or do you think it is two teams, neither of which coming in with a bye week?
Yeah, I have the Bills, Tom. I have the Broncos losing to the Bills. Obviously, it's a toss-up, but you mentioned that they're 14th in offense. And I actually like Bo Nix. I'm a huge Bo Nix believer. I don't like so much what he has around him. Like
Mm.
Cortland Sutton's the number one receiver. I'm not getting too excited about Cortland Sutton personally. RJ Harvey, yeah, he's had a good season, but come on. RJ Harvey, Cortland Sutton, these are your best players on offense. You love your stats so much about point differential, etc.
Hmm.
Well, for example, the Broncos are 14-3. They got a plus 90 point differential. The Patriots are 14-3. They have a plus 170,
Hmm.
almost double the point differential. Look at the Seahawks 14-3, plus 191, almost double. The Denver Broncos, they have a great defense. You said a third in points against. I believe they're
Hmm.
first or second in yards. They have a great defense. But this is one of the worst 14-3 football teams we've seen. They've won a couple games they shouldn't have won. They came back against the Giants. The Giants blew the game. They came back against the Eagles. The Eagles blew the game. Their schedule, by the way, Tom,
Hmm.
also pretty soft. Also pretty soft schedule. They're probably a 12-5, 11-6 football team that had
Hmm.
a easy schedule and a couple of fortunate wins. I like Josh Allen over Bo Nix personally. I like the Bills. I mean, their playoff, they've been there, haven't won enough, but they have the experience. The Broncos
Hmm.
don't have that playoff experience. I got the Bills upsetting them in the second round. Then I'm going to have the AFC East showdown. It's going to be Bills and Patriots in the
Hmm.
championship game. I think the Houston Texans don't have enough firepower. You mentioned Patriots are top four in points scored. They have a very good running back team. They have a very good quarterback. Houston Texans don't have enough firepower. I know we talk about defense wins championships. I know Houston and Denver are probably the two best defensive teams in football. But a team like New England can play offense and defense. The Bills, it's more of a feeling with the Bills. Their
Hmm.
defense is not great, but I have a feeling about Josh Allen in these big playoff games. Again, goes down to I've seen him deliver in the playoffs. I've seen him play well in the playoffs. I haven't seen these other guys. I haven't seen Drake May in the playoffs. I haven't seen Bo Nix in the playoffs much. So I'm going to pick Bills Patriots, and I'm going to pick the Bills to beat the Patriots and make the Super Bowl. That's my Super Bowl pick, Tom.
All right. So for me, let me just pull up the playoff bracket here. So I have the Broncos hosting the Houston Texans, and I have the New England Patriots hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I don't have either home team making it. I'm going
Oh
for
boy.
an AFC South matchup where it's
Uh-oh.
going to be the Jaguars and the Texans.
Oh my God. Who would have thought that, Tom?
If I'm looking at in particular because I haven't,
Wait, hold on.
yes,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
okay,
The Jaguars and the
yes,
Texans, which are two of the newest teams, if not the two newest teams in the NFL,
uh-huh,
neither one has ever made the Super Bowl. So
correct,
that means you're going to bank your Super Bowl pick on the Jacksonville Jaguars
yes,
or the Houston Texans.
yes.
Chaos.
I don't believe in generational trauma when it comes to the NFL.
I know you
I
don't,
absolutely
but
do.
I'm not sure I
Um,
kind of do.
but in going through, I'm a little bit more in depth on the Broncos and Texans because the Broncos haven't had much discussion to this point. As far as styles make fights, these are two pretty evenly matched and similar teams where they rely really heavily on their defense, really heavily on their pass rush, and then their quarterbacks are still young guys that are trying to figure it out a little bit. I prefer C.J. Stroud to Bo Nix as a quarterback, and I think that literally might be the slight edge in the Texans beating the Broncos and making it to the title game. Um, Both defenses are just so good. I just feel like the Texans are probably playing a little bit better, and I don't necessarily know how much I like the Broncos variance, like you're mentioning, with them having so many come from behind victories and having to do that so much. I kind of fall into the category of if you're really that good of a football team, you're not going to be in those situations quite as much.
You'd be
So
blowing out the Giants.
exactly. So I think that and also it's fun to be a little bit different, but I'm going to go with the Texans over the Broncos. And as far as Jaguars and Patriots go, that's one where I just think that both teams are playing really, really well at the moment. I just think I like Jacksonville a little bit better. Trevor Lawrence, I think he's playing just. It's hard to say he's playing better than Drake May. Drake
He's
May's been
not
playing
playing
at
better
an
than Drake
MVP
May,
level.
Tom. Drake May
Not
has been the best quarterback along with Matthew
it.
Stafford this year.
It's a feel thing. I think that the
That's why I'm picking
Jaguars
the
are going to
Bills
win
with
that
Josh
game.
Allen.
And that's totally fair. And that's what's great about this is completely wide open because we have two entirely different NFC
Matchups.
or AFC matchups where you've got, Bills over Broncos, and I've got, neither team even making it to that point. So yeah, I'm going calling card is going to be defense for me on this one. And the reason,
So you're going to Texans to the Super Bowl then?
we'll have to see. That's we'll see.
We'll see. We'll get
I'm
there.
go- I'm gonna I'm gonna hold off on that one. Let's
All right,
move
let's go to the
over.
NFC side then. We'll talk about the
Let's go to
conference
the NFC
championship
side.
games later.
Yes.
NFC side. So you're not going to like me very much, but I'm going to go ahead and
No.
not go bias here. I'm going to say the Bears beat the Packers,
Hmm.
even though they beat the Eagles head to head earlier this season. I'm going to say the Eagles' playoff experience proves to be too much.
Hmm.
Which, by the way, you're talking about how the Eagles rested their starters. Eagles don't care who they play. They don't
No.
care about the home field of the road. They know
Nope.
they can beat anybody, any game, any day, as long as they bring their A game. I'm picking the Eagles to beat our Bears with the playoff pedigree, which or lack thereof for Chicago.
Hmm.
Then I'm going to pick the Rams to beat the Seahawks. Rams clobbered the Seahawks earlier this season. They should have beat them both games. Talk about blowing the game. They were up 16 points in the
Hmm.
fourth quarter. I know Seattle played great, but the Rams blew that game. Something about Sam Darnold. Last year, the Rams played him good. First game of the season played him good. Very good season in Seattle. To me, the Seahawks feel kind of like the Broncos a little bit. They overachieved a little bit. Things went their way in some games. They had some big blowouts too. Don't get me wrong,
Hmm.
they did. But I like Matthew Stafford more than I like Sam Darnold. I trust Matthew Stafford more than I
Hmm.
trust Sam Darnold. I got the Rams over the Seahawks. By the way, Tom, my preseason pick was Rams Eagles in the NFC title game.
Hmm.
So that's how it's going to shake up. Speaking of revenge, last year the Rams came literally a play or two away from beating the Eagles in the
Yep.
first round of the playoffs in a wet, rainy, snowy game that very much favored the Eagles on paper with the conditions. I think it's a special sort of. I'm not going to say last ride because this team could have another good 2 or 3 seasons. But Matthew Stafford, Devontae Adams, those two guys together. Obviously, Puka Nacua is incredible.
Hmm.
Sean McVay. We're talking about best coaches in football. There's another candidate right there, Sean McVay. I think the Rams go on a special run. You want to talk about balance? You want to talk about balance, Tom? They have a great passing game with Stafford, Kupp, and Nakua. A very good running back game with Kyron Williams. And how about Blake Corum has emerged as a very good number two back? Their
Hmm.
defense is very good. Jared Verse is a beast. Now, there's no weaknesses for the Rams team. They got to stay focused. They got to deliver. But I think they do. The Rams end up playing the Eagles in the NFC title game. And I'll go ahead and pick it right now while I'm talking about it. I like the Rams. Matthew Stafford was the best player in football this year. He was.
Mhm.
He's going to get the MVP, and rightfully so. The fact that he's got a guy like Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, they got two number ones in that team. Preseason time, I said it.
Mhm.
Nacua will lead the team in yards and catches. Devontae Adams will win touchdown catches. That's what's happened. That's one of the best 1-2 receiver duos we've ever seen in the NFL. You have those two players with that good of a quarterback, which I've been on record, Tom, my three most underrated quarterbacks of all time.
Mhm.
Drew Brees, Steve Young, Matthew Stafford. If you take away the Super Bowl for Matthew Stafford, I still put him in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Look at any advanced metrics, top five all time, passing yards per game. Love Matthew Stafford. Played on a very bad franchise in Detroit.
Mhm.
Had this guy been playing with the Rams in this franchise in this system for his whole career,
Hmm.
he'd be going for three, four, five Super Bowls.
Yeah,
That's how good this
possibly.
guy is. So I'm picking the Rams. Again, talking about quarterbacks in the playoffs, I believe there's two quarterbacks currently in the playoffs, correct me if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
that have won a Super Bowl. It's Matthew Stafford and it's Aaron Rodgers. Stafford is not
Jalen
young.
Hurts.
Who else?
Jalen Hurts won
Oh, Jalen
last
Hurts.
year.
My
Yeah.
bad. Jalen Hurts
Yeah.
as well. But Aaron Rodgers is not Aaron Rodgers anymore. Jalen
No.
Hurts is really good, although Hurts has had not as good of a year this year as last year.
Mhm.
Matthew Stafford is probably the guy I trust the most. Even with the occasional turnover issues, I trust this guy the most. Give me the Rams, my preseason pick, making it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so this one, I'm going to agree with you on the Eagles side of the bracket. Like I said earlier, they're facing a pretty banged up 49ers team, and I think that they're going to be able to get their revenge on the Bears. They played a pretty poor game on Black Friday this year, where the Bears were pretty much able to just run all over them, which is not something we often see, and their offense just could not connect on anything. Um, that was also when the Bears defense, I would say, was probably at their peak. The Bears of late, having lost three games heading into the playoffs, they can be had. I mean, looking at that 49ers game
That was
where
tough.
you could just,
That was tough.
the 49ers could do pretty much anything that they wanted to, and the Eagles have at least as many weapons, if not more, to make that happen. So I think that the Eagles actually get a pretty favorable draw, so to speak, to make it to this NFC Championship game, because I think they get the opportunity to figure some things out. Now, if the Packers upset the Bears and now the Eagles have to play the Rams, that becomes a whole different ball game as that matchup goes. But I'm going to advance the Eagles that far. And then I'm going to go ahead and advance the Seahawks as well.
Ooh, going different.
You make a compelling argument for the Rams to be sure, and that's the tricky and or fun thing about the NFC West this year is that pretty much the entire time you've had at least two, if not three teams just really in the thick of
Evenly
it for
matched.
winning that division. Seahawks really quickly, third in points for, first in points against. I want to make sure that Mike McDonald gets his flowers for being an outstanding coach and perhaps winning coach of the year. And if we're talking about one of my like niche enjoyments in the NFL, it's watching teams assemble and also then develop good young talent. We've seen that with the Eagles and what they've been able to do with that defense over the past few years. We're seeing it now with the Seattle Seahawks as well and the defense that they've put together. This is a team where I don't really believe in their quarterback, Sam Darnold, all that much. But in a weird way, it kind of doesn't feel like I have to believe in him in order for them to have success. I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba's having a level
Incredible.
that's like a step below that Cooper Cup season when the Rams won the Super Bowl. Not to that level, but definitely that same category of I'm the one passing option on this offense, and I'm still going to mollywop you. It's
Hmm.
the season that he's been having, and it seems like they're kind of figuring out the Zach Charbonnet, Ken Walker pairing of a good balance of a run game. So this could be very much a throwback type of team, which is probably why it's resonating with me. Of let's run the
Old
football. We've
school,
got a
Tom.
couple of guys. We've got a defense that's just absolutely going to knock you into the dirt every opportunity that we get. So I think that Seahawks and Eagles. I'm going for an all bird
Which bird is going to
NFC.
be flying higher?
So let's get into that because that brings us to the Super Bowl now.
So I've already went ahead and picked it. I'm picking the
Yes, you
Rams.
did.
I'm picking the Rams over the Eagles. The Matthew Stafford factor, the Sean McVay factor, the explosive offense of Puka Nakua and Devontae Adams. We can bring out any advanced metrics you want, Tom. The Eagles defense is great. You can talk about the Seahawks defense, which is great. You line up Puka Nakua, Devontae Adams, and you have Matthew Stafford throwing the ball in the modern NFL passing game with the modern rules. I'm taking the Rams. So I got to pick between the Seahawks and Eagles for you, huh?
I have to pick. I mean, I haven't even really picked my AFC team because I'm working right now on cropping something for you.
Well, we want to pick
Hang
the
on.
NFC team while we're on the NFC side. Then you can pick the AFC team after.
Let's see if I can.
You're gonna pick the
If I got
Seahawks.
it.
Just do it.
Here's the thing. If I can actually get this to work, I was going to text you something.
Go
It doesn't
ahead.
look like it's going
Take
to
your
work out the way
time.
that I want to. Is this it? All right. I'm going to send you a little text comment, and it's going to literally be the note that I have for picking who's going to the Super Bowl
I
and
got my
and who's going to win it. This is wonderful theater, I have to say. Come on, hit send. There we go.
Let's see it. We got Castleman pulled up.
We've had the show rundown in for
Super Bowl and
days.
champ. I don't know. I don't
That's
think
my
it's.
notes.
I
That's the
don't know.
entirety of my notes of getting to this point and looking at all of these different statistics and thinking about what have I been feeling about this season. And I legitimately am here making a Showtime decision on
Game
who's going
time,
to be
Showtime
making this.
decision.
I can't. I'm so like flummoxed. Like any of these teams, except for me,
Flummoxed.
the
The Panthers.
Seahawks because they can't play this week. Any of these teams can lose the very first week, and nobody would be surprised. A lot of people would be upset, but nobody would be surprised. I don't want to be cliche and pick the Eagles. I'm going to root for the Eagles because I do like that franchise.
Seahawks. I know you're going to pick the
I
Seahawks.
I think I will go Seahawks. I don't feel great about it, but their defense is so good.
You are a
I'm gonna
defensive
go with the
guy.
Seahawks.
Yeah, you're going to have
I
Seahawks and
am.
Texans. I know you. Mr. Defense
Mm,
wins championship. Seahawks
mm,
and Texans. Come on.
that does sound nice.
Just do
I'll
it.
go with that. I'll go with Seahawks and Texans. That's what I'll do. But like legitimately, like I'm not like putting on a front or a show about it or like drawing this one out. I legitimately just with everything I had, all I could put in is I don't know. I don't know who's going to win any of this stuff, and I don't feel like there's any one hill to die on for any of these teams to make it, which is really fun. Like I don't know, I like the parody of the NFL playoffs this year. I like all the different ways it can go. If I'm going to pick a champion of the two, hmm, let's just ride it all the way. Let's just go upsets across the board. I'll just go Houston Texans to
Oh
win it.
my God.
I'll just go Houston Texans to win it. Why not?
Wow. I like the Texans, by the way. I had them in the AFC title game last year, but man,
Yeah. I mean,
Houston Texans.
yeah, sure. Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Houston Texans.
Not enough offensive firepower for me, Tom.
Somehow Woody Marks is going to continue
Oh,
to like go to the injury tent every single game and they'll figure it out or Nick Chubb will be doing X, Y, or Z. I just
well, it's kind of funny because your logic you're going with, because I honestly I don't know either, Tom.
mhm.
And it's kind of diverting to the way you and I function as sports fans.
Hmm.
Doesn't mean that we're right or wrong because the honest truth, Tom, usually to win a championship, you got to be really good at offense. You got to be really good at defense. So it's not really a
Mm.
defense wins, quarterback wins thing. There's data on both sides. But I know when we're not sure, you default to defense. I default to quarterback. Because the
Hmm.
reason why I have the Bills beating the Rams in the Super Bowl is because I think of all the quarterbacks right now, and Drake May has been very good this year, but I
Hmm.
think the two best quarterbacks in the NFL for this season right now to me, in these playoffs in particular, are Josh Allen and Matthew Stafford. So I'm deferring to myself. I'm going to pick the two teams with the best quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You're deferring. I'm going to pick the two teams with the best defenses, which is a very tan thing to do and a very common
Yes.
slash
Yeah.
Cayman thing to do. We're both going with our de facto gut feeling type thing. Uh, I just think it's the Bills' time. I don't
Hmm.
want to call it divine inspiration, destiny. Their last season at their old football stadium at Highmark.
Hmm.
Josh Allen gets engaged, married with his wonderful actress wife. They have just a
Baby on the
special
way.
story this year, a young kid on the way, um, which is kind of fun because the Texans have never won.
Hmm.
Have the Seahawks won? I don't think the Seahawks have ever won.
They beat the Broncos really bad that one year. And then did they beat the Steelers as well when Matt
Well, they lost to
Hasselbeck
the
was the
Steelers when
quarterback?
Hines
But
Ward got the touchdown catch.
I think they lost with
Oh no,
Matt
they won
Hasselbeck,
with.
but they beat,
I'm sorry, they won with Russell Wilson. My apologies. What
yeah.
am I? I'm losing my
Hmm.
mind. Seattle has won, but Houston
Yeah.
hasn't won.
No.
Jacksonville hasn't won.
Nope.
The Bills have never won.
No.
So we're both going with potential new
With
blood.
new, yeah, exactly.
Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen. Now, crowns can go back and forth.
Hmm.
Kings can get usurped, to quote
Hmm.
history, Tom. I hate myself for even saying this,
Uh,
but I want to entertain you a little bit and our viewers
okay.
and watchers, because I don't know if you know this about me, but you probably know. I'm
Hmm.
a man of the moment. I focus
Yes.
on the now.
More so than almost anybody I know.
Yes. Oh, this is gonna hurt me to say this. Oh, I'm gonna say it, Tom. I hate admitting it. I hate saying it. And again, it could be taken back with
Could be.
ease.
Sure. Yeah. Moments change. They
Josh
flip.
Allen wins the Super Bowl
Hmm.
and becomes the player in the NFL ahead of my beloved Patrick Mahomes.
Really?
That's
There's
how much I
one,
believe in
one,
that guy. I hate to say
one,
it.
one torn ACL's what does it then?
I mean,
Hmm.
very close. Man of the moment. Torn
Yes.
ACL, Super Bowl champion. It is very hard to, assuming Josh Allen wins the first ever Super Bowl for the Bills, which he
Hmm.
might lose the first game of the playoffs, which you have, by the way.
Yes.
But if you win the league MVP one year, the Super Bowl MVP the next year, it's kind of hard to not be at the top of the mountaintop, right?
Yeah.
So I'll
Yeah.
go
Like
Bills over Rams.
if we were to get to the start of next season and say who is, the best quarterbacks heading into this year, I don't think anybody could put a rehabilitating Patrick Mahomes above a healthy Josh Allen.
Hmm.
So I don't disagree. I mean, certainly
That was hard to say.
it I and I commend you for it. And
Thank you,
that's that
Tom.
that's what you get on this show of Salute Your Sports is you get some harsh, real
Salutes.
moments at times as we come to grips
Reality.
with our own realities. As I'm sure we're going to when the Steelers and the 49ers advance and the Bills just
Of
absolutely
course.
pants the Jaguars. It's all just
Of
gonna fall
course.
apart. It's all gonna fall apart.
Of
That's what
course.
makes it fun and enjoyable and everything. So this is
Trying to think like what would be
probably
the one we picked against? It'd be like Niners versus Steelers or something.
Panthers Steelers, yes, would be the
Their
Super Bowl.
biggest upset.
That would, yeah, that would. I don't. I wouldn't be happy, but I would watch.
There's no way the Panthers make the Super Bowl.
There
And
could be
that's
a
the
way.
one team there's no way they make it. Outside of that,
There
though,
could be a way.
wide open. Wide open.
They could make it. There's a non-zero chance that they can make it.
There's about a 0.0001% chance it's Carolina. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Man. Fun show.
Yeah. Different. They definitely it's interesting with the with all the different teams. I know we had like some agreements along the way, especially like early on, but
With the NFC early on.
yeah, but it's just it'll be an interesting way to see the bracket play out. I think this is probably going to be the most like diversified looking bracket that we've had in a while.
It feels
As been
like
watching
March
NFL.
Madness come
Yes.
NFL season in January. That's what it
Hmm.
does. Because honestly, look at the teams with the top record. Sam Darnold never won a playoff game. Drake May never won a playoff game.
Hmm.
Bo Nix never won a playoff game. Those are the three teams with the best records in football. Caleb Williams, 2 seed in the NFC.
Hmm.
Yeah, I believe this is correct. Sam Darnold, 1 seed. Caleb Williams, 2 seed. We have Drake May. Actually, Bo Nix is 1. Drake May is 2. The top 4 seeds in each conference,
Hmm.
neither quarterback has ever won a playoff game. Right? I think that's correct.
Well, discounting the Steelers, who are the fourth seed in the AFC with Aaron
Well,
Rodgers,
I'm talking
obviously.
about the top 2 seeds in each conference.
Oh, in the two seeds. Yeah, yeah, yes.
The
Yes.
1 and 2 seed in each conference,
Hmm.
respectively, has not had a
Brand new
playoff win by
quarterbacks,
their
yeah.
quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, half of them haven't even had a playoff game. Caleb Williams, no playoff
Hmm.
game. Drake May, no playoff game. Sam Darnold had,
Yeah.
was that his first playoff game last year? I think so.
No, he's been around for a while. I think, though, yeah, it may have been. And
Didn't
that
end
just all
well.
fell apart. No.
Yeah,
See, it's times like these where I really need an NFL Ken Palm. That would
right?
really help. Yeah, if I
Good
could have a
luck.
Ken Palm to
Good
reference.
luck.
Mm,
Well, we'll be in touch throughout the playoffs.
of course.
Imagine we'll have definitely a conference championship preview, a Super Bowl preview. So we'll be going over stuff, assessing all the wildness here.
Hmm.
No doubt about that, Tom.
Definitely. Well, it's going to be a fun ride throughout this. I wish everybody a happy Super Wild Card weekend. Enjoy as many of the games across as many of these different platforms as you can. And it's going to be thrilling to see how this theater plays out.
As Bart Scott told Sal Palantonio, can't wait. Can't wait. Tom, thank you so much for co-hosting. Great job today. Awesome show.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for those friends, family, random people on the internet that take the time out of their busy days to watch our show. Absolute blast. We'll be on, whether we skip a show or two here or there, we'll be with you guys throughout the playoffs for more updates. Have a great, great day, everyone. And thanks again for listening. Thanks, Tom.